So a couple days ago, we recorded a podcast. It wasn't up to my standards. I had it processing. It was actually good timing since I could spend a whole day of my day off after a shitty 5 days of shitty 5 days of work in a row. Finally got a day off. It was so nice. It was one of the best day offs I've had in a long time. I go into work, everything rainbow, sunshine, happiness, and then my phone as soon as was about to leave my work break, right around 10:46 a.m., we got the notification that the Houston Texans have traded a 2025 second round pick for Stefon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills. Now, we are a Jacksonville Jaguar centric podcast. Why the hell would we talk about our own AFC South rivals? I don't want to focus on that fact right now, nor focus on the fact that the Buffalo Bills are going to pay $30 million in dead cap to send Stefon Diggs to an AAC and another AAC South team, and then not even get a draft pick this coming April. I just want to know the fact that the Texans have done more in 6 months than the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trent Baalke, Shad Khan, whoever the fuck has been in charge for the past decade plus, and Shad Khan in charge to help out a goddamn franchise quarterback who I'm repping today. I haven't wore Jaguar shit in months, but today I felt like that was the day to finally break open. If Trevor Lawrence was on any other franchise than the Jacksonville Jaguars, he would have been the generational prospect. No, he wouldn't be just a generational prospect. He would have been the face of the NFL by year four going to the league. But now he has to be questioned and ridiculed for all the worthless turnovers because the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't put the good and right pieces around him. Trent Baalke, your first year as general manager of this organization, you had a chance to trade for Amari Cooper for a fucking Texas Roadhouse gift card from the Dallas Cowboys. And what does he fucking do? He sits on his fucking hands and lets the Cleveland Browns take him, and he's a perennial 1,000 yard receiver. Whoever the fuck is back there in quarterback, a goddamn rapist, a goddamn guy who got off the couch 2 years ago. Guy wasn't even a fucking league. A rookie quarterback. Doesn't matter who the fuck Cleveland Browns play. They're Baker fucking Mayfield. Amari Cooper produced no matter what. What did Trent Baalke do? Sign in his fucking hands because he wanted to send on some cap spaces and draft picks. Was that was that Urban Meyer to blame? Because I don't know. We should pick up, I don't know, Tavon Austin, Laquan Treadwell, Marvin Jones Jr. Like what in the fuck is that wide receiving core? Is this not no college football all-star team? This is the goddamn National Football League. And Trevor Lawrence first year is fucking disaster. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Second year in the NFL. Oh, you know what? We're finally gonna have to help Trevor Lawrence out a little bit. But the stench of Urban Meyer's gone. We don't have to go back through all that again. What do? Christian Kirk, fine. Great slot receiver. Great person for the locker room. Everybody loves him. Everybody thought he was overpaid, but hey, prove me wrong. Prove the majority of NFL fans wrong. And then every other signing you made in that offseason, fucking disaster. Foley Fatukasi, cut. Rayshawn Jenkins, cut. Javal, any other names I'm missing on the top of my head that were cut?
Darius was kind
Darius Williams, cut. Great player, doesn't fit the new scheme because you ran your defensive coordinator out of town. Fucking cut. Brandon Sheriff still here. But then, we didn't even talk about the draft picks yet. I didn't even mention the last draft pick after 2021 because Urban Meyer's still in charge. And goddamn, did he do a better job drafting than you ever fucking did in Jacksonville. You got lucky with the Tyson Campbell pick. But now last year he showed signs of regression after coming back from injury, maybe a bit too early a couple times during the final stretch of the season. Andre Cisco forgot how to fucking tackle a fucking football player last 2 months of the season when he got back from his own injury. So now, okay, after that Trevor Lawrence draft class, who do you got? The year afterwards, 2022, Trayvon Walker. You know what? I was a big Trayvon Walker fan. I'll give you that. I think he's gonna be a fucking multi-digit sack player in the NFL for many years to come. If he goes on the trajectory he's still continuing to this day now. But after the fact, you got Devin Lloyd, very inconsistent on that football field. Going to the next pick as he traded up for him, going to the third round pick, Chad Muma. Third round pick. a linebacker because he said, "Oh, linebackers get hurt by more than any other position in the National Football League." Then what does he do? He doesn't even have a single start under his belt. When the fuck has Foley Fatukasi, not Foley Fatukasi, but Foye Aluakon get fucking hurt? And guess what? You pay that motherfucker a couple days ago without even extending Josh Allen, but we can get to that fucking later. Who else was in that fucking draft cast? I don't fucking know anymore. Fucking Snoop Connor. Where the fuck is he now? In a practice squad where nobody else wants to fucking pick him up because he's fucking dog shit, garbage ass doo doo shit? Bro, I sound like a fucking 7-year-old child for how upset I am right now with this fucking organization. Next year after that, we finally have some Nirvana, a fucking playoff win, 27-point comeback. You know what? Maybe you're proving us wrong. We can build upon this. What do you do before the end of the season or trade deadline from that season? You go ahead and fire Calvin Ridley. Big risk coming off a suspension. He'll be there in the next season. A third and a potentially another, so a fourth or a third, or and then a potential second round pick if you extend him before free agency starts. We get into training camp, everything sounds like sunshine and rainbows with Calvin Ridley. He looks like the best player in training camp out of anyone. Was he inconsistent? Yes, but guess what? He was still a 1,000-yard receiver with 2 years out of football and coming off a torn ACL. What do? You sit on your hands. You don't pay Josh Allen. You could have extended him at the bye week in October last year. Not even start the conversation to extend a contract. And what do? You tag Josh Allen and you let Calvin really hit the open market. And what happens? Your biggest fucking rival in team history goes ahead and swoops in for a contract that nobody would ever refuse. Not me, not Javal, not any other wide receiver in the NFL who just caught out of 2 years out of football and 22 million a year hits your fucking phone or front door. Who's gonna say no to that? Absolutely fucking no one. And you could have all avoided this if you just decided to pay Josh Allen and just tag Calvin Ridley at the end of the day. You opened so much cap space during that offseason after our playoff win too. And what did you do with it? Angelo Blackson? What other free agents have he signed there before the draft, Javal? Do you remember anyone else besides Angelo Blackson?
Plays Jeopardy theme song.
Exactly. Jack and fucking shit. You had over $20 million
Ernest
in cap.
Johnson. No,
Third
I'm really
string running
trying to
back.
remember.
Yay. We haven't even gone to the draft yet, so we'll get there. But NFL draft last season. Anton Harrison. All right, banger first round pick. You seem to have a trend of hitting on your first round pick, so good for you. Second round pick. Third string tight end, Brenton Strange. What the fuck does he do? Catch one touchdown pass in an AC South game and does nothing for the rest of the season? Other teams in the second round got, I don't know, Sam Laporta. I don't know, Brian Branch. What other picks were second round picks that stood out last year, Javal? Come help me out here.
I'd have to look that up, but I mean, you can definitely get starter level players in the second round,
And you took a
and
third
not
string
just
tight
role
end.
players.
Third round, Tank Bigsby. Fair play to him. He looked like a stud in the preseason last year. Then goes out in regular season, has fucking case of fumbleitis. You know what? I'm not even going to give that to him because he was running behind the worst fucking offensive line that were 31st place shirts throughout the entire training camp, and they only prove what ESPN wrote about them correct. What else more do I have to say? Your incompetence as general manager has gotten people fired on the defensive side of the ball, while the head coach, Doug Peterson, had to only keep his only son, fucking Press Taylor, who couldn't run a goddamn fucking target, let alone a goddamn NFL offense. I don't know how Trevor Lawrence hasn't requested a trade yet. This is the most pathetic fucking football organization in the goddamn National Football League. And I hate that it's my fucking team because I have spent 20 years, almost 20 years of my life supporting this football team since I was a 7-year-old fucking child with a ESPN 2K5 and a fucking dream that maybe I could be where Trent Baalke is right now and take this fucking team to a goddamn Super Bowl because we fucking deserve it. Nobody thinks we deserve this fucking team. Nobody thinks we deserve to be here. Hell, nobody even thinks that we deserve to have Trevor Lawrence as our fucking quarterback. And we're letting him, we're letting every other fan, we're letting fucking Doug Peterson, we're letting anybody in that locker room down. I want to be proven wrong so fucking much about this organization, but I can see another fucking 7-10 season, another question marks everywhere else. Doug Peterson gets fired in the middle of the season because he doesn't agree with Trent Baalke. Shad Khan, whatever fucking spell Trent Baalke has in it, is gonna keep him. Probably promote Ryan Nielsen as fucking head coach. Shout out to Gus for giving us an idea a month ago when he was on. And just be in the same old fucking cycle where Shad Khan keeps general managers on for too long that ruined the fucking face of this organization and promote within. Like, I don't know, who the fuck is this second in command? Ethan Liard? He'd be the fucking general manager and do slightly a better job and then not do fucking shit with this team for another decade. It is truly fucking pathetic what is going on in the city of fucking Jacksonville and their fucking dumpster fire football organization that has spent thousands of dollars every single fucking year. I spent fucking $1,000 minimum on season tickets. I added a second one for my wife to finally go to Jaguar games consistently. I spent so much money on merchandise and trips and events just surrounding around this organization. I'm a fucking convenience store worker who only barely makes 30K a year, and I spend a good portion of my budget on this fucking football team I love since I was 7 years old. And I guess that means Jack and fucking shit to Trent Baalke, Shad Khan, Doug Peterson, and everybody else in his fucking organization. I want to be proven wrong. I really do. Look at the fucking Houston Texans did. We'll go back to them. Stud quarterback, rookie of the year. People think he should have been MVP last year for how good they overperformed. Their wide receiving core is probably the best three in the entire league. Fucking perennial Pro Bowler, Stefon Diggs. I don't care if he's a prima donna. If he gets the ball in his hands, he can do some dangerous fucking shit with it. Nico Collins finally broke out after people thought he would have a breakout season maybe 2 years ago with Davis fucking Mills, fucking long neck draft bastard son of fucking Mike Glennon at fucking quarterback. Tank Dell, fucking stud, can get fucking open no matter what. And it was unfortunate that he suffered an injury to end his season last year. But if he gets back to anywhere near where he was his rookie season, that shit's a fucking problem. And you still have Dalton Schultz running at tight end. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Hell, they still have Larry Tunsil left tackle to offense, but let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Defensive end. The draft. They were not done after drafting CJ Stroud with the second overall pick. They went even aggressive to go back into the top five and draft Will fucking Anderson first round last year. They're not afraid to go for top prospects that everybody thought was going to be fucking studs coming into this league. Will Anderson was a top two, top three prospect all season until the college football playoffs. Like, I don't know. And then he falls to the next pick for the Houston Texans anyways, because they go ahead and trade up for him in front of the Indianapolis Colts. Then they go out this offseason inside Daniel Hunter, perennial multi-digit sack player for the Minnesota Vikings, and he brings stability to a team that who just also lost Jonathan Reeder, but now they got veteran leadership back there and somebody who knows what the fuck he's doing back there in that defense. If they fix their corner situation in Houston,
All right,
this
all
is
right.
gonna be fucking nasty. You know what, Javal? I've been ranting long enough. Houston Texans are fucking nasty. Oh fuck! I cut out my headphones. Give me 1 second.
I was going to say, is it safe now? I just wanted to let you get everything out there, you know. Sometimes you just gotta let the negativity flow.
That was the longest, most winded rant I think I've ever fucking cut in my life. I'm sick and tired of this fucking shit. I want my money to be spent well. I want to have good times with you, but I want to have good times with you sharing winning moments with this football organization. We had the golden goose sitting right. We had Trevor fucking Lawrence as fucking quarterback. And people think he's a fucking joke compared to fucking CJ Stroud, who shit on our legend in front of us during a fucking podcast this offseason. And that pisses me the fuck off too. Shout out Fred Taylor, man, but Javal, you can go ahead and speak. I'm sorry. I just had to let that all out.
Thanks, man. I was going to say, I mean,
You're cutting off a bit,
I
Javal.
was gonna say they didn't even draft a fourth round linebacker yet, and you're already this mad. Oh yeah, I muted myself by accident. But honestly, I think I already got most of my negativity out kind of prior to everything. So I probably won't be negative again until we go on out the draft and the draft is bad, which considering our draft history would not be that surprising. So I I think for now I'm kind of just, well, okay. I'm not even that pissed. I'm just jealous because, I mean, to be fair, it's better than last year where they actually were trying in free agency. So I know they're not even being, they're actually trying to be more competitive and, they're actually getting on the high horse compared to last year when they literally did nothing. They're actually signing free agents. So I'll give them credit. It's really just a matter of, okay, are you going to, if you can draft a receiver fine that can fit well, this can all be forgiven. It could be, you could flash forward 10 months from now into October if they actually hit at a receiver that's comp playing well, even if he's not a superstar right away. If they were even just to get a pretty good receiver to contribute, this could all be forgiven. It's just now I'm just, are they actually going to draft a receiver or are they going to draft another running back?
You know what's gonna
Because
fucking happen? We're gonna draft someone like, I think he is a first round pick. So Terry Arnold, 17, great. Great corner. Second round, you could place the worst fit wide receiver in the second round.
that's
Like,
what I'm scared about, bro. I just think back to even 2020 when there was also a deep receiver class
and they're
and
gonna
we
choose the
left
wrong
with
one.
Laviska Shenault,
They're gonna take that
our
super
second
speedy guy
round
from
receiver.
Texas. Yeah, it's gonna be that super speedy receiver from Texas. And then he's gonna be, Justin Ross 2.0.
For
Not
whatever
Justin
reason
Ross
it is,
or
our second round
John Ross
receiver
2.0.
history has not been great because it was Chark, who I mean I think Chark still had talent, but it just
Injuries.
never really.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just injury prone,
And
and then there
inconsistent.
was
Yeah.
then there was Laviska, who I was.
Super high
He
on.
really had that one good rookie year, and then he just never figured it out. So I'm really scared, man, that we're gonna pick the wrong receiver because
Because
that's
Doug
really the
Peterson
thing.
and Trent Baalke has never taken a good wide receiver in their entire NFL careers. They just
I
gotta draft the
that
opposite who they like. They're like, who in the draft process we like that everybody likes? Oh, we didn't
I'm
like
really
this
scared.
guy.
They always zag where most NFL teams zig in that. I mean, to be fair, they really haven't drafted early round receivers, but I don't know. With Bulky's board, it's just one of those things where as we get close to the draft, it's just, he has to come out of this draft with at least three contributing players. Not even superstars, but just three players that make this roster. That and combined with they drafted 12 players last year. You have to at least four or five of those players from last year take a step up. So now it's really just all on the development of the coaching staff with between last year's draft and whoever the draft. And granted, last year's draft was by a different defensive coaching staff, so a lot of the late round pick DBs. We'll really see a lot of the guys. I mean, they drafted 12 players, and it was really just Anton and Antonio who made a difference. So if they can even get five rotational players, that's I'm not asking for all hits, though that'd be nice, but you just have to show some semblance of being able to develop players, and it's really just one of those things where I, yeah, I could see us going 7-10, and then everything's just worst case scenario. It's not impossible. I, if they actually do make the aggressive move and make the trade for receiver, because that's the thing, is I know they're still in on the market, so I don't think. I just hope they don't go into the offseason and say, we'll just get a guy in the fourth round and it'll be okay. Because unless they actually get a really good player in the fourth round, which they could get a good player in the fourth round, I don't. I'm pretty sure they're going to draft a receiver just because of the nature of the draft class. They've been scouting guys heavily. It's just how early, how good will they be, how will they fit is really the question. Because I'm not even that upset about Stefon Diggs being traded. I'm just jealous. I mean, Stefon Diggs in and of itself is, on the diva scale, I want to say he's probably about a 6 out of 10. We have him
He's not
around
Terrell
three.
Owens, but
So
he's also not
for
like
what it is with Ridley, though, I will say Ridley wasn't a diva though, and I mean with diva receivers, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Because you want a receiver that's cocky that wants the ball, but I mean, it's crazy though that the Bills just traded him for not even insane draft capital. I mean, Keenan Allen got traded for a fourth, Diggs got traded for this low, so Brandon Ayuk, what is this price? What is the price on Ayuk? What is the price on T Higgins? I would love to know.
Hey man,
I'm just
apparently
asking
they
for a
offered
friend.
a 2, a 6, and Zay Jones, and the Niners said, I want a first and 17. Like, what? Or first and goddamn Zay Jones. And I was like, all right, I'm out. But, my
I'd
goodness,
do it.
man.
I would do it.
I mean, but they really, really like the corners in this class. So they were going to take
Yeah,
one
I
at a
mean that is fair.
17
I was going to say maybe if you did a second this year
and a second
and a
next year.
future, I was gonna say even if you did a future first and then trade back for a second, so you kind of swap, so you have two
Hmm.
second round picks, but lose a first, maybe something. But
We can't be
it's
acting
I'm
desperate
just
for a
kind of
receiver, though. But it's just like when you see other teams doing this shit for cheap, it's like, okay, what the fuck are we doing here? What is the fucking plan? Because
I
it
think
doesn't seem
yeah,
like there is a
it's really
fucking
just
plan.
if they draft the cheap receiver well, I think it'd be perfect, which is why I still think it could all work out if they just draft the right receiver. And there's a lot of guys, but there's a lot. I don't know. It's just I really have to see it to believe it with this staff and developing players because if they draft a receiver and he plays poorly, then it's just going to confirm what we all knew about. I'm so scared because I they're basically coming on this draft with a corner or receiver, and more likely than not a good edge player, well a defensive lineman, offensive lineman. It's just how well can they develop these players because it's this getting basically nothing from rookie class last year when you already didn't add any players in free agency just hurt your team so much. You see they kind of just stagnated from terms of a talent level and growth. And once injuries hit, especially the O line, man, it's just that's really the thing that's gonna make or break the whole season because you if let's say Mitch Morse comes in, but they're still just as a whole not great, and the O line is just all bad, then at some point you're gonna just look at the coaching staff and say, "What are you doing here?" It's one of those things where it's just the game isn't played on paper. That's what Trevor tweeted, and I still think he can do his best, man. It's just a matter of can either the coaching staff of Doug get a little more locked in, and can Balky they just need to hit on one draft class and get good coaching, and then you can actually, even if you don't win the division you could still be a wild card team. I think they could still maybe be a 10-7, 11-6 team. Even if let's say the Texans do, they could still compete for playoffs for sure. But at the same time, it is the Jags, so it's all in the draft, man. As it gets closer and closer, I have no
Nervous.
idea what Bulky is going to do, and that scares me. I have an idea of where I think they're going, but which players is just after last year's draft, man. After Brandon Strange in the second round, I, I could really nothing would surprise me in terms of their own big board.
Oh yeah, Osiris Torrance as well. A guard she could have drafted to help booster that O line when Luke Fortner was goddamn dog shit. Went 2 picks later after he traded back again. Anyways, I don't know,
They've
man.
taken so they could have taken Tyreek Stevens. The Bears traded down. I mean, they got extra fifth round pick, but and they could have taken so many other players, but that is kind of a hidden point where his Balky's draft class. Some players kind of they're gonna have to at least try to step up. We'll see if either the players feel or the coaching staff can get the most out of them. So I really have no clue what's about to happen, man. But it's all draft focused at this point, or they make a trade, which trade, still could see nothing's impossible yet. Draft is a few weeks away, but now's the point in the off season where it just kind of really starts to build up. I hate that it's at the end of the month because I need the draft to happen now for just
I just need the draft to happen because there's going to be the draft party inside the stadium that will reveal the 30th anniversary logo and hopefully throwbacks during the same night. And I'll be fully back, baby. I'll be fully back. Come on, let's go, Jags.
well
Duval.
when we traded 3 first round picks for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, I'm showing dick. Absolutely
I
showing
would
dick if that happens. You'll be the first to see. Don't tell Johnny Malone that. You are my co-host after all.
Do you think they're gonna? I don't know. The fact they've been so quiet on it gets. I feel they have to announce it though. I mean, it's the 30th anniversary, and I know most people are gonna vote for They just have to do it, don't they? Right? But because it's the Jags, are they gonna spend more money?
You know, it's funny. AEW is there from Wednesday up until Saturday, thanks because they want the ownership wants home base to be there. So hopefully, some couple of wrestlers are there. So I'd love to see them around too if they have the draft party there that Thursday. So they will all be there. So hopefully, some wrestlers will be around too. I think. Can you imagine if there's a wrestling ring in the middle of the field and they just have like house show wrestling matches in between draft picks before the Jaguars get on the clock? Wouldn't
Yeah,
that be fucking
something to
awesome
distract the fans after
from
Trent
the
Baalke
actual
takes
draft?
a fifth round safety in the third round.
I mean, it's only for the first day, so it would be like I don't know. They take Brock Bowers in 17. Everyone's like either loves it or hates it. It's the most controversial pick they could
I don't
possibly
I
make.
won't even I would I'd put Brock Bowers at X. I'd do it. I don't
I
care.
no, you know what?
Let
You
him
and
be
me both,
Travis
brother.
Kelsey.
Either Ingram or Bowers at X receiver every single play. Fuck it, we ball. Fuck it, we are the New England Patriots in the early 2010s. Two tight end sets every play. Fuck you.
I'm not that upset. I'm just now it's really okay. Either they make a big trade or they're gonna have to draft and develop well. So I'm just can they actually hit this year? Because if you're Trent, you can't if you have three bad drafts in a row, at some point you have to look at your team and say, well, these players I want to be depth players, none of them are hitting. Shot has to I don't know, I still don't know what Shad sees because at some point, man, if this draft class doesn't have an impact, you really got to look yourself in the mirror if you're Shot and say, is this the guy? But I feel Shot would still see it too late. So I don't know, man.
He always leaves it
I'm
too late. Like I said, no
just
matter what
the
happened,
draft lines up so perfectly with it's just the draft lines up perfect with what they need. So, they could if they identify good players at good value spots, they could, actually have a good draft class where yes, they have a good player at corner and receiver and an offensive line and in that defensive line. They just need to draft one of those four players and then just get a corner, get a receiver, get an offensive lineman, get a defensive lineman, and then any other combination of some players. But just add to the trenches and the flashy, the positions you build around in the NFL. Because at this point, receiver, corner, premium positions, get those premium positions, and then just if you can get some contribution from those that spots, that's huge. So I don't know, man. It's very funny too that we both had the tweets about on Jagged around the same time and we didn't even realize. And then, dude, I literally tweeted, I've just been getting the notifications. My brother in Christ, we blew a 99% chance in the playoff to make the playoffs last season.
in the words
I
of
just
the
have my
great,
watch on, so I'm getting.
yeah, notification still. Yeah, in the words of CM Punk, tell me when I'm telling lies. I'm sorry, Tony Khan. I had to. But anything else you want to leave at? I'm feeling so much better after leaving that all out. Like I said, that was the most frustrated rant I've had in my life. So I can't wait to listen
I'm
to it back.
surprised, man. You didn't even let the draft. You didn't even let the bad draft happen before you had the rant. You could have at least
It's
waited
gonna go
until the
wrong, Javal. It's the history has shown
probably.
it's gonna go wrong. Trent Baalke has
Yeah,
drafted dog shit and then dog shit, and he has his third chance to draft even more dog shit. So I'm just
the
gonna let it all
the
out
thing
before it
is, I
happens.
don't. With Trent, I feel the problem isn't that he drafts bad
Dog shit.
players. He just prioritize. He just has bad player prioritization, if that makes sense.
I totally
Because
see your point of view, but dog shit is still dog shit at the end
I
of the
mean,
day. I
yeah,
expect fucking
because
success. When you have a fucking franchise quarterback, everybody expects it to be the next Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. Everybody thinks he's fucking bang average because you didn't surround the pieces around him to be the next superstar quarterback, face of the league, face of Gatorade, face of Bose, face of every national fucking commercial on this goddamn television, and he only gets like the one Gatorade out every year.
this it could still happen.
But is it going to? With all the expectations going to Houston now? Nobody's gonna care what Jacksonville fucking
I think
does.
that's really the thing. That's why I feel, dude. The Jags play better when nobody cares about them. That's
Well,
the
the one year
perennial
we had
thing.
expectations, we fall flat on our fucking face
And
in the last
that
fucking month of the
that's why I'm
season.
kind of just okay. I feel this team is kind of a little bit more pissed off, which is probably going to be a good thing. Now they're gonna after getting embarrassed. it's pretty much now or never. So the teams, the players who have been through the rest of the Peterson era, I feel like everyone's gonna be a little bit fired. That's the thing. The team plays better when no one cares about them. So we'll really have to see. And that's why I'm like, okay, yes. Now that there's no expectations, it's gonna be Sunday 1 p.m. every single time. Maybe, things could I could see things playing well. I could also see us going 7-10. It's really just a flip of the coin, and that's all based on the draft at this point. So I'm just everything to me is up in the air because it's not so much I look at the state of the roster compared to other Jags rosters of past, it's definitely a lot better. But it's just you're not getting the core development from some players at key spots. And that's what's really, if they could have just drafted a little bit better, they'd really be the best of the best. And it's, I guess, going back to Bulky, I mean, with some of the players he's drafted, I mean, yeah, it's kind of been some hit or miss. I mean, 2022, I think Lloyd, for what it's worth, I don't think it was a reach per se, where it was no one else would have taken Devin Lloyd. He was ranked to go that high in the first place, so it made sense at the time. Didn't hasn't still worked out yet. Maybe it clicks, but it's kind of still meh. I mean, Fortner, yeah, he's not played well. Booma, we just haven't seen enough. Snoop Connor, okay, yeah, 2022, I guess, was definitely not great, but I felt he's even had players where it could be better with his drafts. 23, it's you just really haven't seen enough. And I just think if he prioritized getting better players and instead of trying to focus on that's Brandon Strange to me is still just the most questionable pick, bro. And just he was the third string tight end who was not going to have a big impact. You could have got any premium picks, and you got a player who was 10% of your offensive contribution all year instead of approving it. That to me is just such a mercurial process. Because I mean, we'll have to see depending on some of the late round picks, but I don't think they're awful players. It could be decent depth guys who just, I don't know. It's just one of those things where Tom's really starting to run out. And if you have another draft in a row where nothing good happens, and I think primarily Trent's draft philosophy will have to change a little bit just in terms of the players he targets because we really haven't seen him target cornerback in the draft. We really haven't seen him target receiver. He's going to have to draft positions that we haven't seen him draft in a while, and that's kind of we don't know how he values them that much because with wide receiver, the only receiver he's drafted was Parker Washington in the 6th round. We don't
And you
really
got
know his
Trevor Lawrence
preference.
fucking killed. Love that.
We don't really know his preference with corner. The only corners they've drafted besides Tyson, which is I mean kind of urban pick, was just a late round guy. So we kind of have an idea of who they're targeting, but we don't it's really just a matter of his best draft was only actually targeted players at positions that mattered the most. And the last 2 years, they just really haven't done that well, or they haven't done that early enough. The corners they've drafted have just been late round depth guys who haven't. They could have drafted corner before they drafted running back, but they drafted Steve Connor and he was bad. It's if he can just get enough of a players, because obviously, with offensive line, he drafted Fortner and that was a disaster. But Anton's good. They just need to get more players at those premium positions. I just feel they've only done that through free agency, and that's the frustrating part. Or if they do draft a player so late, they don't draft it early enough. They just chase luxury positions with the early picks, and it's so infuriating, bro. Why are we drafting linebackers who don't play in the 3rd round over getting another corner or getting a receiver there? And it's fine if that linebacker is really good if you have a plan for him, but they didn't do a plan. So they just spent 3rd round picks and they didn't get any investment back. That's not how smart teams operate. They get cheap young depth at those picks and they've just used it on luxury players who haven't amounted to doing much. So if they can just shift their draft philosophy, I think there's there's a decent chance you at least get maybe the offensive lineman isn't that great, but you get a good receiver, good cornerback. That would help out a lot, just getting one good player on each side of the ball. And not just a 4th round player that's it starts every now and then, but actually investing in it early. But I have no clue what they're gonna do, man, and it scares me.
We
It's just
got
what I don't know what positions they could take that are realistic. I don't know. Would they take a safety at this point just to troll the fan base. They're saying, "Oh, we're not going to pay Cisco. Let's draft a safety second round that won't play, and then everyone's going to get paid." That's it's just. Are they going to actually just draft for the future, or are they going to try to win games? Because at a certain point, Doug knows he has to win. He doesn't want to draft guys who aren't going to play now. You have to draft players to play now, or have a plan for them that's smart, and they haven't done either. So, dude, do you know that clip of Anthony Edwards when he says they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels?
Mhm.
That's bro. I don't know. I tweeted that. Texans got Diggs, Titans got Ridley, and we have Christian Kirk, and that's really how I feel. And Ends is a good player, and so is Christian Kirk. No, no, they're not scrubs, but it's just damn, if only we get a KD for our generational quarterback. Just even, I'm just jealous of seeing teams who go above and beyond for passing games. When our passing game is just they invest in it, but only B tier guys. They refuse to really splurge, and they could have had a chance done it for cheaper. All could be forgiven if they trade up for Romo Dunze or Malik Neighbors, bro. It just the fact that they were visiting with Malik Neighbors.
Marvin Harrison
If
Jr. is
if
going to be
one
the
of them
guy.
drops to eight,
They're
if
draft.
if
They're.
Marvin
I'm now
Harrison,
convinced. I'm going to hurt myself. They're driving up for Marvin Harrison Jr. Number 3 pick, like the Texans did last year. They're sending the farm for Marvin Harrison Jr. Best way to help him, Trevor Lawrence, have a wide receiver that'll be there for 5 years minimum, and was the
I
best
don't
college wide
I don't
receiver for the past 3 years.
I wouldn't be upset with that. I mean, I don't trust the staff to do much with draft picks anyways.
So
So
just send him to get the best
send
wide
the send
receiver
the
in a long
I
time.
just bro Marvin Harrison Jr. in the Colts Stadium would be on for. Can you imagine if because dude Marvin Harrison Jr. with the and Trevor Lawrence if they ever it would just be so funny if they had the best game a duo with with the long well no Payne didn't have long hair but you know what I'm
But the
trying to say
16, Peyton's
a
number in
16
college, and then of
if
course Marvin Harrison Jr.'s son.
if he wears did he wear 80 or 18
Who?
Marvin Harrison
I think he was like 8. I could be wrong though. I don't remember.
If Marvin Harrison Jr. just had 8 dude that would be all could be
88.
forgiven if they just trade up send the farm
Get us some help. Like I
but
will
I
sacrifice a
I
corner
don't
if we
know
just
how
get.
aggressive they're going to be and that's really where it's are they act if because it is if they want to go to their credit and then get a corner and try to just get a corner and then get even a receiver or two in second, third, fourth, fifth, just draft our receivers both early and often. I could be okay with that. It's just a matter of are they going to play the draft smart? Are they going to do something stupid? How they done the past 2 years? Just don't have a stupid draft, please. I beg you. Have a draft that makes sense on paper. That's all I'm asking for.
I think we'll leave it at that. We can try to talk about more draft stuff either next week or the week after, leading up to the NFL draft. We have to get a guest on at some point. So if you have any recommendations, my DMs and my text messages, my phone calls always open to you, Jamal. I'm gonna let this video process. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna cut out the clip and just upload it to Twitter at our Jagged Edge show page, see if it gets any more traction. That long-winded rant will just be living in my mind forever once I look it back at the
I
tape.
was bro just save that rant for when they have a third stupid draft in a row. Then it'll be me being negative.
That's fair enough. I had my time. If you have your time, man, I'll just leave it be too. I'll mute myself, sit there, and just let you go at it.
But
Prove
me
me
when they
wrong,
draft
Jags. Prove me
when
wrong,
they
Trent Baalke. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
when they leave next year's draft with a safety and a linebacker drafted top 100, I'm going to lose it.
I don't blame you. All right, Javal. It was a nice updated pod from whatever the shit show was Monday when I was too retired as fuck. Thank God the Texans did something that made me so pissed off that I just wanted to get all the frustration out of my chest. It sucks to have to be this way. I don't like being angry. It's the worst feeling in the world. But we have to let out some frustration at some point with our favorite football organization. Because at the end of the day, we just want them to do well. We just want an organization that tries. And I don't even know sometimes if the Jaguars just fucking try. You got anything else to say, Javal?
all can be forgiven if they get me a receiver in this draft. I'll all can be forgiven. That's the thing. I'm not will I can be walked off the ledge, but I can very much easily be doing a full sprint over the ledge, depending on what happens over draft weekend. So, Trent Baalke, your life, my mental status is in your hands, John. I'm so scared. I'm going to regret this, aren't I?
You and me both, Javal.
This is going to age very poorly.
Kicker analysis for slot fade coming soon. Maybe that's what I'll do while this video is processing. Javal, hope you have a good rest of your day. I want to talk to you next week. We'll just do a couple of do you think it's smart to do a weekly thing and then we try to do a mock draft the day before the NFL draft since we're on a Wednesday today?
I can do a mock draft right. I can do a mock draft at any time, at any point in the day, my
I
friend.
think we have to save it before the draft. I think we have to do offense next week. We gotta have someone who can cover offense. We can have someone cover defense the week after, and then we can have our own mock drafts, our
I can do
ideal mock
all the
drafts.
draft coverage you need me to, my friend. Trust me, the many hours I've spent listening to draft podcasts, I've been prepared for this.
Hey man,
Whatever,
this
say
is
the
your
word, I
moment.
will be there.
I know this is your
This
LeBron
is
moment. Do, 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 do,
this is
do,
this
do,
is what
do,
happens
do,
when you're a
do,
fan of
do,
a bad
do,
sports
do, do,
team.
do, do, do.
Although the problem is that when your GM can't draft, you're gonna look at all the players who look great for your team and say, "I want this," and then you just draft the fifth round player position you haven't looked at because you don't think they need it, and you just look at yourself in disgust. But yeah, NFL draft, baby,
All right. Let me see if I can find the clip before I go. If not, I'll
all
just
of
play
the
something
lights.
similar. All of the lights. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the name of the song. Thank you, Javal. We'll play the song to end it out.
Bro, especially when the Jags when I first started and it was just bad and we had premium draft picks. That's when that's when as a Jags fan, and now it's just we're in a weird spot. We're not have premium picks, but you can still get good players, man.
All
I
right.
don't know. We'll see, but I'll always be ready, So
Be prepared next week. I'll go try to look for a guest as soon as possible as this video is processing before I look at kickers.
I could
I
talk.
promise slot fade. We'll do the special teams one today as a Twitter thread. It'll be my homework assignment for AW Dynamite tonight.
Oh yeah, we could draft a kicker this year, so
Hey man, I'm gonna do the analysis
UDFA
tonight.
UDFA is the way.
All right. Javal, once again, thank you so much. I'm glad this was a much better episode than the dog shit that we did on Monday. 100% my fault. So I'll be holding myself accountable, but I had to be this way. But other than that, I love you. If you're still watching after my long-winded rant, I really do thank you. That was the most passion I've had talking about this team in some time. It just had to take another team involved in the AC South to bring that out of me. So fucking pathetic. All right, Javal, you have a good rest of your night, and I'll talk to you next week. Offense or defense next week, your choice.
That gives them more time to wait. So if they ever wanna, if they want to make Brandon Ayuk trade close to the draft or trade for T Higgins close to the draft,
All right,
or they
defense
make a big
first.
trade up.
I'll find a defensive
So
specialist
you
for
have you
us.
have more time. I'm giving myself more time to be disappointed. That's pretty much what it is.
Sounds good,
Oh,
Javal.
I hate this team.
Have a good one.